Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Big Screen Show. My name is Victor,
My name is Jorge.
I'm Alex.
and this is now episode 3 of the Secret Invasion recap and review. We're so excited. We just got done watching it. It was a crazy episode. Not what I was expecting, personally. I was expecting more action, personally. Like, I just felt like after last episode, like episode 3, marking the halfway point of the series, that we would have some action, but still a great episode. Let's start from the beginning. So we start with 3 of Gravik's like soldiers,
Yeah.
right? Like being tasked with infiltrating the Royal Navy, right? Later we found out it was for reasons. Basically, the reason was because they wanted to take over the, what was it called, Neptune?
Yeah, the Neptune submarine.
Neptune submarine.
Or to blow up London.
Right. They
Correct.
want to blow up the UN plane.
Well, yeah, their target was the UN plane.
The UN plane. That's who their target was. Right.
Alright.
So that's what it opens up with, and it gives us. We go back in time to 1998, where last week, if you guys watched last week's episode, we said we had so many questions and really wanted to get some backstory on Fury's marriage, right, relationship. We get that. We flash back to 1998. He walks into seems like a little coffee
A little
Diner.
diner.
Yeah, like a little diner,
right?
for sure.
And asks what were you saying? Asks for who? What was the name?
Well, yeah, he refers to her first as Vara.
Vara.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah,
I
back
thought
in
that was
1998.
her name, but then he later refers to her as Scylla.
Scylla.
So I'm not really sure what's her name.
Right.
I don't know, maybe like the first one is her scroll name and the second one is like her human name.
That's
But
Yeah.
I'm not really sure yet.
that's our theory, right? That's my theory because you asked me that, and I'm like, that's a good question. I don't know, which one is her name? What is her real name? I don't know. If maybe Fury was just giving maybe to cover up because he knew that it was a scroll
Yeah.
that he was meeting, maybe using a fake name to cover up for her.
Correct, because that was the first time that he sees her in her human form
Right.
as well.
Exactly.
I think it might be a time we probably saw her in like a different human form. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah,
So he did
because
mention-
he did say like, I like your new look or something
Exactly,
something along
exactly.
those lines.
Yeah, he said a line where she was asking what she looked like. He said, depends on the day of the week.
It depends on the day
True,
of the week.
true,
right.
true.
Exactly. And then the intro starts, right? And then somebody help me out here. Where does it go after the intro?
Yeah, we also...
Oh, the council.
Correct,
Right?
yeah.
The council.
Right before that scene, we see a scene of Gravik's meeting again with the council members
Mm-hmm.
in their city, in their base of operations.
Well,
where-
that's actually what I was talking about.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
where he shows them, the new machine that they're gonna pretty much turn into super scrolls.
Super Scrolls, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Which you referred to in the last episode. That is what they were called in the comics, Super Scrolls.
Yeah.
And then he said it.
Sure.
Gravik
Yeah,
literally said it verbatim.
Yeah.
Super Scroll.
Yeah, but the thing is, in comics, Super Scroll was actually just the one individual type scroll.
There was only one Super Scroll.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he was a Fantastic Four villain where he
Correct.
basically had copied all the Fantastic Four's powers
Correct.
All into one.
all in the
Yeah.
one. Just
That's
one
crazy.
lie.
That's dope.
Like
But they're really expanding it on more in the MCU, where now they're just trying to give we saw what we talked about last week when the computer with the different creatures like Groot. What was it called?
Yeah,
Call
Obsidian.
Obsidian and the Frost
The
Beast,
Frost Beast
trying
and
to give them a
Extremis.
combination of different powers
Yeah.
and
Right.
all these individual scrolls to prepare for war to take over the Earth.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly. So yeah, we see that our little theory. That was like your theory.
Yeah, well,
You actually reminded us that it was in the trailer.
correct.
it was,
Yeah, so
kinda
when I
confirmed.
saw last episode, I saw the files, and then I remember in the trailer there's a scene where Gravik has Groot's army. So I was like, okay, so by the time of that part of the show, he already has the superpowers. But in this episode, we see that he has Extremis, on him already.
Right. Yes.
So we kind of
I guess
assume.
he's gonna change powers. We'll see. He'll either change powers or already has all four.
Yeah, I think he has all. Well, maybe he has all four, or he just have one, and he's gonna get the other ones eventually.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll definitely see.
So he reveals the machine that they're going to utilize to turn into Super Scrolls, to the council members of the Council of Scrolls. Right? Is that a fair term? Council of Scrolls. Because I know they're part of a real council, so I didn't know if Council of Scrolls. And then.
Well, that's when we actually moved into like back to Nick Fury's house,
Mm-hmm.
because then one of the Scrolls, who's like the one like a UN like spokesperson or news reporter and stuff, he's literally on TV talking about potential World War III. And like if you've seen like the episodes then like the past episodes, then you know that person is a Skrull, and he's basically just like spilling like the spoon feed it right into that potential war is coming.
Exactly. He's like pushing that agenda. You know?
Exactly.
Right.
And so then we learn more about Nick Fury and his wife, where it turns out actually like she basically survived the blip while Nick Fury was gone. So like she literally went through a time like lonely, sad, and grieving over him that he was gone for 5 years. But then
the blip 5 years.
Yeah, the blip 5 years.
Right.
But then after Nick came back, she thought like there was gonna time for him to like make up for all that lost time, and get back to
She's
together.
happy. She's like looking forward to basically like catching back up.
Yeah.
And then.
And like she said, like taking all that pain away together.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, like healing through that
Correct.
as a couple together.
Correct.
Only to see Fury voluntarily this time, right, get up and leave, for those whatever reasons, right, that he had, and so
they haven't really touched in his reasons to disappear like post blip,
right,
like post like coming back from the blip.
We just know that he was at the station, the space station up there, but we don't know why. We don't know why he never came back down, right?
Correct.
Yeah. She tells him, his wife tells him, like, obviously, I'm married to Nick Fury. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but obviously, like, I'm married to Nick Fury. I'm mentally aware that the part of marrying Nick Fury comes with him leaving for work, right? Yeah. But what I'm not emotionally prepared for is him voluntarily leaving, but not coming back. Right, just like it's like that absence, like that maybe that check-in, like I don't know, he can't make a phone call, but so you can really see her side of that, and I understand, right? Like I get it, like that sucks,
absolutely.
like
especially consider the character that is Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
It's so like odd for him to, take his life in that direction and pretty much disappear from everybody on Earth, including his wife, including his best friend, which I suppose is Talos.
Yeah.
And the
especially
rest,
right now.
Exactly.
His best friend's definitely Talos right now.
Yeah. So it's very odd for him to behave that way, and they haven't really showed the reasons why.
I think the move in general is just weird. It's an out of Nick Fury place type thing. Like it's out of Nick Fury's thing. Like persona to do that.
Correct.
In general, just that whole like he left and didn't come back for a long time. Like that's just like even for anybody that has known him, including us. Like I think that's just like an odd thing to do. So I really do hope by the end of the show, or later on, like you said in the Marvels, we get some information on that because I'm very curious about that. Right. So that was a very good scene, but we get also in that scene a little hint that. Or it touches slowly, right? Because Nick Fury's wife gets a call, and, it wasn't confirmed right there, but we start getting the sense that she might be working with Gravik because she didn't know where else to turn to while Nick Fury was gone. So then that scene ends, but we're left with, like, oh... like, wow, like, maybe the enemy, like, Nick Fury might be sleeping with the enemy,
She actually mentions that she became the person or the Skrull she was before she met him.
Right. So, you're right. She said that.
Yeah, we don't know how she was before she met Nick, like Fury,
Right.
So we don't really know, like, her character, like, her judge of character, if she's a good scroll or if she's a bad scroll or if she's in the middle.
Or her morals.
Yeah, we don't know what like her motivations are or anything about her. Really.
Whatever it is, it's definitely it was definitely a change for her after Nick Fury came back and he like just left to go back up in space. It definitely changed some things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she definitely, I think she even touched on the fact that it's just like, it kind of frazzled her when he just like popped back up because it was like a very unexpected thing for her.
Right.
But okay, that was a very informative scene all throughout with the flashback and that conversation that they had in their kitchen / house.
Yep.
We then moved to what? Help me out.
The scene in the museum where we see Gravik like looking at the painting.
So Gaia and Gravik are in a vehicle.
Oh yeah.
They drive to a museum.
Well, a little bit before that, there's a scene of Gravik and Gaia having a conversation.
Okay.
Where she woke up, where they're in the base.
Right.
And
yes.
he's starting to doubt her because he knows that in the previous attack, only 4 Skrulls had that information, and he's starting to doubt her and asking her questions regarding her loyalty to the cause.
He knew that someone talked.
Yeah.
And he came and woke up Gaia mid-sleep to ask her, basically, if it was her that talked.
Correct.
She gave him reassurance, said, like, no way it was me. It was, I forget who exactly it was that she said right now. But
I think it's the Skrull they captured, the American Skrull they captured in the plaza.
Oh, yes.
Vragon, or I don't know the name exactly.
But, yeah, it was definitely someone else she was trying to pin it on. Cause it was actually, I think it was actually the Skrull that was actually getting tortured back in the last episode, episode 2.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what So then Gravik kind of takes that. I think you could kind of tell he took it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, like, I hear what you're saying. I don't fully believe you, but I won't fight you on it today.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
he definitely has more suspicious about her. So he's just
his antennas.
He's just kind of biding his time, just kind of waiting out to see what she's really gonna do.
Right.
Exactly.
He definitely sees the red flags.
Yeah.
And he's definitely just moving with caution, but decided not to act on it in that moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which I found to be very interesting.
Yeah.
So then it goes to this scene. He basically tells her, like, let's go, we got somewhere to go. And they get in a car and drive over to a museum. And only Gravik steps out. Gaia stays in the car again. And it's a scene where they're in a museum, or Gravik is in a museum, and from the side comes Talos. So now we understand that this is that meeting that Talos told. Who did he tell to set up that meeting? He called. Remember, he was like, set up that meeting. I forget who exactly it was right now. It was, anyways, not relevant. But he in the previous episode, he had called someone that I cannot remember his name right now, and told them to set up a meeting with Talos. So now, or with Gravik, sorry. So now we're here. We're at that conversation. This scene is amazing. Gravik is just talking about the World War I picture or painting that sits in front of him, but basically saying that, in a summary, that conversation is basically him saying he prefers to be a soldier rather than a politician, sitting back, getting his picture taken for the world to see after the history was written, where he would rather actually be out in the battlefield shedding blood and writing history himself. Right.
Exactly.
Would that be a fair
that's
summary?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a fair summary to that conversation. And off the bat, you already feel his intenseness, his movement. I was telling both of them, we literally just finished watching this episode together, and I could not stop being amazed by. We need to look up that actor's name because I've never seen him before. But this guy is doing such a great job. You felt the threat, yet like respect he commands when he is speaking, especially in this moment. It was like just oozing out of him. I thought it was fantastic. And then they move over to like a kitchen. No, not a kitchen. Like
It was like a dining table,
Like
what
a
do you
little
call it?
diner
Yeah,
inside
food
the-
area inside the
the
museum.
museum.
like a little restaurant for let's say like a little restaurant inside of the museum.
Yeah.
Where Talos is sitting across from Gravik, and the conversation continues. There's a lot of this like
Tension.
short, there's so much tension. There's like quick short banter. I what can I don't know, like I was just freaking out throughout the whole like time that they were having this like basically face off, because it was definitely a mine is bigger than yours type moment on
Yeah.
each side, you could feel, but also very serious, because like
They both had valid points at the end, because like Gravik's perspective, it's blood and war and going full at it, while Talos is more like diplomacy and being smart about it and showing the humans that they're not all bad.
right.
So
Talos told Gravik that he basically told him like, I know your plan, and I'm gonna go tell the highest powers about your plan and point you out, and that element of surprise that you have
Right.
of working in the shadows will no longer be there.
right. He mentioned something very interesting, that he says that humans are at their most fearsome when they feel threatened by a common foe.
they're at their strongest.
Are they strong?
When they're which I agree, because
Yeah.
I don't know how other beings in the universe work, but
Right.
we know scientifically, us as humans,
Right.
we get put in certain situations, get pushed in a corner, that's fight or flight.
Even in the MCU, Thanos was surprised by how resilient humans were
Right.
to like his constant trying to like invade us and attacks and everything, you know.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
he brings up that fight or flight. Talos brings up that fight or, like, makes them aware of like humans will go into fight or flight when they're pinned down in their last seconds that they feel they have, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
true. Like, we're put in a
Oh, yeah.
corner. We'll do anything we have to do to survive, right? But on Gravik's side, but the thing that stuck with me was Talos told Gravik that Talos thinks that once he tells these people like, hey, Gravik's the bad guy, he's about to do this, that then they will see that the good scrolls are good scrolls and will want to help them and only take down the bad scrolls. Where on the other side, which I fully do understand and see this as well, Gravik is like, not quote, but like, paraphrasing, basically like, you're crazy. Like, once you out us all,
Yeah.
and they won't like it. And it's true. Like, I agree with him on that part, because like, it's like what Fury said in the last episode, or maybe it was Talos, but basically like, humans already can't even coexist amongst
With each
themselves.
other, yeah.
Once,
Yeah, it was Fury that said that.
Fury,
Episode 2,
right,
the last
Fury.
episode.
So once you like out this other completely different species out to the world, there's no like, oh yeah, these guys are good though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
because some of their own, that same species is causing terror.
Exactly.
So they're already gonna X out the
Yeah.
entire species.
They're all
itself.
gonna be categorized as like a dangerous species.
Exactly.
Like, when you solve it.
Exactly. Like, if
Even
you came
Gravid said it, like, you're gonna be the reason of our extinction
Right.
if you do that, you know.
Exactly. Like, let's think in the real world, as far as, what's that word when it's like, I can't think of that word, but you know, like that idea, whether it may be true or not, that like all Middle East people are terrorists.
Right.
Even though it's not true.
Prejudice?
No, not prejudice. It's a
Stereotype.
There we go. The stereotype that all Middle East people, all people from the Middle East, all Arabic people, are terrorists, right? Due to just some things that have occurred in history.
Yeah.
That it's like the same concept, like
Basically.
you know what
yeah.
you get what I'm saying
Yeah.
by that? You get what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
so
pretty much
once-
like the whole world is gonna be stereotypical towards the
the
Skrulls,
scrolls.
thinking that they're a dangerous species
Except
because
in-
of what Gravik's actions and like Resistance have done already.
Exactly. Right.
Gotcha,
Not
gotcha.
to mention what would go down in that situation if they were to be informed.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that scene was so great. We find out, so Gravik kept touching on Gaia. Like, you're lucky that your daughter is still alive in my car right now, you
Sure.
know,
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing. He kept like,
He kept pushing and pushing.
yeah, he just kept pushing on it. It's like, you're lucky I haven't put a, he said, you're lucky I haven't brought your daughter back to you in a body bag. And I
Correct.
think in that moment, he gets up, Talos gets up, and is about to grab him
Correct.
to basically hurt him. And so they're in a restaurant where around them it may seem like there's just other normal people who were at the museum.
Yeah.
Everybody stands up. The entire restaurant stands up and shifts into Gravik lookalikes, meaning everybody in the room are Skrulls on Gravik's side, ready to protect him if anything were to go down. So Talos sits back down. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was
a
insane.
crazy scene.
I was losing my mind in that scene. Like,
what I mostly like about that scene, it just felt like that final scene in John Wick Chapter 2, where I think John was like in like Central Park somewhere with like the place with like the water fountain and stuff like that, where Winston was basically signaling all the other assassins to like stop in place, and there was like over like maybe like 3-4 dozen assassins around, stopping in place to show John that, yeah, we're here, we're all around here, and then they just moved along,
Right.
just like nobody's business.
Exactly.
It just like showed like how serious the situation is, and like as you guys have said, like how much of a leader and respected that Gravik is to them, and his cause.
Right.
Yeah.
So clearly the situation is handled in that room on Gravik's side.
Oh yeah.
Talos sits back down. At this point, I mean, I was jumping up and down. I was like, this scene is crazy because you could feel the intensity. Like, it was like so measurable, like so palpable.
Tangible, yeah.
It's so, yes, it was tangible. And they go on a little bit more, and again, Gravik, I can't recall the exact thing that he said, but pushes on the Gaia button for Talos once again, and he lost it. He got up, he grabs a knife and puts it right in his hand, gets up and starts choking Gravik out, and tells him, what did he say right there?
But he basically said, like, live for the end of time and keep my daughter's name out of your mouth.
That's right.
Exactly,
He said,
yeah.
from here on out till the end of time, keep my daughter's name out your mouth. Hey, shout out Will Smith.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
Hey, you know, that happened at the Oscars. So, you know, movies. Anyways. And then lets him go. And then Talos walks out. And Gravik, this is another reveal, removes the knife, not by pulling out the knife, but by simply sliding his hand
Oof.
off through the knife, and we see this huge, like, cut.
Yeah.
Basically, his hands, like, split into two between his, like, two middle fingers. But then it heals immediately, and it's revealed that he has extremis' how do you say
Yeah,
that?
Extremis' powers.
Extremis' powers.
Yeah.
Right, so that was, like, our first, like,
Yeah.
Okay, so...
That was a big reveal. It
yeah.
showed us like a
He's
lot of
already a
different.
Super Skrull.
Exactly,
Oh,
and not only that, it showed like how powerful he is when like all the people in the room got up and shaped into him, like, and then also like showing that he has extremis on him. That like those are two already superpowers. I don't know if like the people who got up are different Skrulls or if it's himself shape-shifting into different humans. I don't know how it works, to be honest. You know.
Can you? No, wait. Can Skrulls do that?
No,
Can one Skrull
I don't think
like?
Skrulls can do that.
no,
They
they
can't?
can't. They can't do that.
Okay.
That would be OP as crap.
Yeah,
because
'cause I was
the 1
thinking,
million
like-
Skrulls that are on planet Earth then could be like a billion.
Right.
Yeah, the only way that would be possible is if the MCU introduced like the comic character Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, and he can like literally make copies of himself. But like,
Like
so-
is that the one in the X-Men movies?
yeah,
It
yeah,
is,
but,
right? I was thinking that he has the scene in the trees, you know, where he multiplies himself.
yeah, where he was surrounded by all the soldiers
By the
soldiers
soldiers.
when the soldiers thought they had all the mutants surrounded, but
Correct.
it turned out to be just the man's clones, and he like just sucked them back up in his
Exactly.
bodies and just like gave them like plenty of time to just escape.
That's what I was thinking when I saw that scene. I was like, oh, maybe Gravity can do it as well. I was like, whoa, that's
Yeah,
like
but,
next
like,
level, you
That
know?
would be
Yeah,
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
that would.
What
but
are your
like,
thoughts on that scene, the conversation between Talos and Gravik, that
I
whole
think-
museum scene?
I think it really shows how tense the relationship is, because like they probably like been like separated for like years for like their whole confliction,
Yeah, a
and
long
to see
while.
and to see like Gravik getting this close to like basically creating this all out war and putting like his species in danger at risk of death, because like Talos at the end of the day he just wants like his people to be safe and to like just to not to not die. He always tries to like minimize losses, but he understands that because he's like he's a soldier, he's a warrior, he's had so many years doing this. He understands like, of course he's gonna have to do what's necessary, but unlike Gravik, with Talos it pains him every time he has to do it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
with Gravik, he just sees that as a necessary part of war to
Right.
get things done.
Yeah,
as
a
for the
means to
sport
an
was
end,
called.
to the end.
Correct.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. But the scene was crazy. Talos walks out. Gravik shortly behind him. We see Gravik go back to get in the car with Gaia, and then I think they just drive off. I don't think.
Yeah,
they,
they
I don't
drive
Yeah,
think
they grow.
I don't think they
off.
said anything to each other. Okay.
Now they say anything.
So, but then okay. One important thing to note: before, when Gaia and Gravik pulled up in the car to the museum, Gaia sends a text through a burner phone to an unknown number saying Neptune. We didn't know who she was sending the message to.
I think it's Talos.
No, it was Talos, but I'm just saying at that time we didn't know who she was sending the message to because it
Okay,
was like
okay.
an unknown number.
Okay.
Yeah, so she said she sent the text Neptune, only to find out after the conversation when Talos comes out of the museum, he gets bumped into by a bystander and drops his phone, picks it up, and then he checks it, and it says Neptune. And so then we find out that it was Gaia who sent her father a message about Neptune.
Okay.
Clearly he went to a bar, right? That's the next scene, right? He went to the
Yeah,
bar.
that was like the next scene
Yeah.
afterward where he's trying to get
Talos
get
goes
some
to a
food.
bar. He's having some English breakfast, and in comes Nick Fury. So we see them reunite after their little fight.
Right.
Well, little fight, but big deceive lie that Talos told him in episode 2. And basically, Fury needs Talos' help, but Talos is definitely very offended at the way Nick Fury spoke to him when they argued back on the train in episode 2. So Talos basically tells Nick Fury, hey, you can't just, this is not how this relationship will work anymore. You can't just come in here, ask for help, and expect me to drop everything and go and do it.
Exactly.
From now on, you will come and you will tell me, hey, I need help with this Fury, with this whatever Fury. I need you because I need you because I am useless without you.
Yeah.
And he basically tells him like to say it. He first said, ask me for help. So then Nick Fury says, I need your help. And he said, no, you gotta say, I need your help with this because without you I am useless. Like, he wanted to hear that word for word. It was a very funny little back and forth from them. But again, I think you said it perfectly while we were watching. It's like the perfect type of comedy. It's witty, it's understandable, and it's not this like, it's still taking itself seriously, you know, because the situation is still so very serious that they're dealing with, even though they're having just a slight, they're more like jabs to each other, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, they're more like subtle jabs to each other because of the relationship they have. Nick Fury simply gets up, walks away, because he was like, I'm not telling you that.
You got like too much pride in there, because like
Too much pride.
Yeah, because he's like, before up to now, Secret Rage, he's just so used to like getting what he wants because he has like he had that high status where like he doesn't go to ask somebody for help. He just gets it automatically.
Just tells
one
them
way or another.
He just tells them, or he just gets it. One of the two. He never has to ask/beg anyone for help.
Yeah.
So his pride was too big for that moment,
But
and for that request.
But he didn't understand that. Yeah, because like he has like literally barely any resources. Tal is like his most loyal friend
Barely
since
any.
like
I
for
think
like
he has
decades.
0.
Yeah, like it's like really his only friend
His
right
only
now.
friend right now.
So yeah, he knows that he needs Talos because like he's like the most dependable and reliable that he needs. So he literally has to suck it up and literally say word for word that he needs help because he is useless without Talos.
Yeah.
Correct.
And again, going back to like the witty banter stuff, since they know each other and they know how to like just know how to feel each other out and get each other's buttons, it's really just snappy and quick banter that I like, where it's not forced or anything. It just feels very natural because you know these two people have known each other for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like probably like the closest two people that ever,
Right.
especially with like Nick Fury, who keeps saying really close to the chest
Right.
until like now, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And in that same scene, we got to the conclusion that Alex said about the theory that without the scrolls, Nick Fury, it's not who he is at this point, you know. So
Well, it was the very next scene when they
They're driving to the
they finally
location.
go and drive. Talos tells Fury about the intel that Gaia gave him about Neptune. As soon as Fury heard Neptune, he knew that it was the Royal Navy submarine. Makes a call, gets the name, face, and location of the, I guess, like the general of the Royal Navy,
right.
like the leader of like who
The one who had the
guy
code.
the guy who's in charge for the codes for the Neptune launch codes.
Correct.
For was it a missile?
Yeah.
A missile.
Yeah, I think they usually call like for that they call it, like the football, since it involves like whole nuke attacks.
Nukes,
Things like
okay,
that for the
right.
nuclear football.
So they're on their way en route to this guy. His name is Bob, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, it was actually
Insane.
getting up to his house. Up to his house, his location.
Right. So they were on the way to Bob, the leader, the general of the Royal Navy, and in that conversation, Talos and Fury had another conversation, where Fury. What was Fury's side of that? Like we know.
Yeah, they were pretty much what Fury said at that point. That triggered Talos is that he said that I'm cleaning up your messes.
Right.
Yeah.
So Fury said to Talos that basically something along the lines of he's cleaning another one of Talos's messes, or that he's tired of cleaning up Talos's messes, something along those lines. Clearly that set off Talos, and in the last episode, if you guys watched, you would know Alex actually had a theory that without the scrolls and then coming and working and helping Nick Fury back when he was a young, unexperienced, or at least much less experienced Nick Fury, still climbing the ranks of S.H.I.E.L.D., that Nick Fury wouldn't be where he is today without them, right? And sure enough, that was Talos's retaliation in that moment for saying that, for feeling disrespected, with Fury saying that he's cleaning up one of his messes. He's like, you're cleaning up one of my messes. Like, you're here today because of us. Like, we did this together. Like, without, like, who, you were like, basically, he called him a bench warmer back when, in 1995. When they met, he was like, then we started helping you, and all the intel that you got in order to do the things you did for you to climb to the rank that you're at today, you wouldn't have gotten at least at the speed that you got them at without us.
And the efficiency.
The efficiency, right? Like, he had like 19 operatives out in the field gathering information, so much for him, and obviously S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't know about them.
Correct.
So like it just seemed like Fury was like the greatest spy in the whole world. You know?
Basically.
You know?
Basically. But in reality, it was the scrolls that he had.
It was the scrolls, right?
Yeah.
And so good job on that one, bro.
Yeah,
Good
that was
one.
awesome. Right?
That was awesome.
Our first correct theory, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah, that was huge excitement for me. That was the one theory. I didn't think it was actually gonna be like that, but it was. It was perfect.
But when you said it in the last episode we uploaded, I genuinely thought about it, and I was like, it doesn't, like, it wouldn't have been needed to be confirmed for me to believe. Like, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So the next scene is they get to Bob's, And they have to. So
Basically,
Talos
yeah.
and Fury have to infiltrate Bob's house in order to get to Bob to try to get the codes from him so that they can stop
The nukes from being launched.
The nukes from being launched to the UN's plane. That was a cool scene. I don't have much thoughts on it. I'm just glad that they were able to stop it. They couldn't stop it. We found out that actually Bob was a Skrull,
Right.
actually. So he had already been infiltrated, but luckily they got there in time, and we actually find and see Talos pick up the burner phone, call Gaia, tell Gaia about the situation and what they need, which were the codes, and she actually is at the Skrulls' base of operations, goes to the layer, the part of the layer where they have the mind, I guess, like the machines.
We had like the imprisoned people who were basically getting taken over by the Skrulls.
Exactly.
And they have to go and search through like the actual real Bob's memories to try and find like the passcode needed in order to stop the missiles and stuff from being launched.
Exactly.
Correct,
So
yeah.
we see Gaia once again going against the cause, right?
Right.
The cause that she's currently a part of, at least.
Right. And I think there's a very clear confirmation on
what side
her
she's on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was definitely like, because like it was like at that point everything she had done before was voluntary. Like, oh, I'm gonna send him a text saying it's Neptune. Oh, I'm gonna, it was like definitely voluntary on her end. This, I think, was the most confirming action that she has done yet to show us that she's on Fury's and Talos' side, because she
Correct.
actually got a call from Talos. He asked for help, and she
Delivered.
she delivered.
Yeah.
So she gets him the codes,
And not only that, she didn't just,
crisis averted. What?
Yeah, not only that did she she didn't have to just get the code. She really had to force her way inside the whole room with the imprisoned people to get the codes. Basically, like ruining her home that she established there.
Right.
Yeah,
she
blew her
basically-
cover completely.
Yeah, blew her whole cover. So like once she got the codes up, she knew she had to gather. She
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
come
she
back.
had to run.
Because in her way to get the codes, she had to basically knock out I don't think she
Couple
killed.
guards.
She knocked out two
took
guards.
yeah,
She
yeah,
knocked out two
knocked
guards, which were also Skrulls, obviously a part of her own side of
the rebellion.
the rebellion,
Yeah.
or where her loyalty, I guess, used to lie. So at that point, we clearly see like, okay, no, she basically blew her cover. She's done. She got the codes. They stop. Crisis averted. Gets him the codes. Crisis averted. Then Gaia has to flee, obviously. Because actually, at the end of the phone call, when Talos asked for help, he said to her, he's like, get the codes and then get out of there.
Yeah.
So she did that. She got the codes. She's getting out of there. She gets on her bike, and she's out trying to run away, and then boom, gets hit by a car.
No, she didn't get hit.
she doesn't get hit.
It
She
was
get
like,
hit by a
it was-
car?
No, the
She falls.
car's headlights were flashed right in front of her, and she had to like skid, and she fell down. She
Oh,
fell off.
oh, my bad. I thought she got hit. Okay, right. She fell off her bike, and out of this car that has the headlights on comes Gravik. They have a conversation. Gravik is basically interrogating her, like, why are you fleeing? Like, this doesn't look good. Like, what are you doing? And, of course, Gaia tries to,
trick her way out of the situation by
Right.
lying. Yeah.
Tries to talk her way out of the situation by lying. Sure enough, it did not work. And boom, Gravik shoots her in the heart, falls down, turns back into a Skrull form, and that was the end of that scene. And I am so impacted by that scene.
Oh my.
I am so sad because we said we really like Amelia Earhart.
Emilia
Clarke.
Amelia Clarke. I almost called her Amelia Earhart. Amelia Clarke. We really like Amelia Clarke. I really like Amelia Clarke.
Yeah.
I thought she was doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But I don't, just like Maria, right? I thought maybe there's chance, but that bullet was like right in her heart, and she turned back into Skrull mode or version, and I think she's gone, and that really stinks because it's like, dang. But this just shows like Gravik's not playing any games.
Yeah, he's cold. He's cold, and he has
Cold,
no
yeah.
hesitation.
He did not hesitate.
Yeah.
No
Like,
trade. No
like
trade
if
accepted.
anything, I would have expected he just like come out of the car and like just shoots her without the conversation. But I guess he like gave her the
benefit of the
the
doubt.
respect. No, because he knew, but more like the
Well, he knew because he set her up, pretty much. I think she was the only one who had the flight's information besides the infiltrator operatives. So he knew that if that information got released,
it was her.
because of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know he knew. I just think he gave her the respect to try to just maybe if she was like, yeah, I did this. Maybe who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or at least like.
What do you think, Ale? You think she's dead?
I honestly think she's dead because like the same thing with Maria, because like these deaths stuff is very shocking stuff, but I feel like it's almost kind of bittersweet because I'm almost kind of afraid it's becoming like a pattern where these female characters and stuff die as a way to like propel greater motivation for like the male character figure and stuff like.
Okay.
It's like the thing that's been done in comics and other movies and stuff, like the whole fridging concept where the death of like a close personal female companion or something like that, or to like motivate the hero or protagonist
Right.
and to propel them forward and stuff like that.
Right.
Like it's something that's been done to death and no one really likes it unless it's like done in like a more kind of better unique way. Although I can't think of like any time where it's actually done that way correctly in some way.
Maybe Coulson's dead in Avengers 1.
Well, yeah, that is one.
Coulson's dead.
Yeah,
'cause
that
he
is.
didn't really die.
Yeah, it's one, but like, it's not like the whole fridging concept is more done for like females and stuff like that. It's not really it's mostly not known for like the male protagonist or male companion and stuff like that.
Okay.
But so yeah, it's kind of bittersweet and definitely most shocking. But also it does kind of raise the stakes of how seriousness, how like Gravik really tolerates like no traitor, and
Right.
he will, and if you get in his way or sabotage any plan, he will kill you without hesitation.
Right.
Because he
Right.
shot her he shot her literally point blank dead, no hesitation, just stoic and serious, dead.
One shot, right? One shot.
One shot.
Yeah, I think
right
it
in
was,
the
yeah,
heart.
one shot right
That
there.
was it.
She fell flat.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be hopeful of the group and say that she's not dead.
Hey, brother, I'm with you.
I
I
hope
would love
she's
nothing
not.
more than
Yeah.
for her to
Oh,
be
yeah, me
still
too.
alive.
Trust
I'm
me.
hoping that somehow she got in herself the extremis, and she might like recover and regenerate the wound of the bullet. But who knows? Because I really like Emilia Clarke, and I think she's been doing a fantastic job.
A
Like
fantastic
her
job.
Absolutely.
like her performance, her interpretation, and her seriousness in her scenes has been on point so far. So I'm really looking forward to see more of her. Hopefully she's not dead, because that would like break my heart. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, so I have like more like affection for her.
Right,
But let's see. I hope she's not dead.
right. So we're left with that impact, but then there's one more
Yeah,
little.
the last final scene
With Nick
is
Fury's wife.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, so next we see Nick Fury's wife, Vara or Scylla. I still don't know the name.
We'll call her Scylla because that's what he called her in the most modern time
Lattice,
that
yeah,
we're in.
Lattice, yeah, for
Because
sure.
the Vara he said in the flashback, so we'll call her Scylla until we get some more info. on
Correct,
this.
yeah.
That works.
So we see Scylla moving, like, maybe escaping, we don't really know, like, by the scene
She's
stars.
moving kind of quickly
Yeah, we
in
see
her house.
Exactly, we see, like, she's trying to, like, leave her house, like, quickly because something is happening. I don't know if she receives a phone. Yeah, she
She
receives.
got a phone call.
No, so it cuts then to her inside of a bank, where
A safety
Right.
deposit box.
a
for
safety
inside the bank.
deposit box. She gets, you're always accompanied by a teller. He gets the box out for her, lets her know that he will give her the privacy. They do that at banks when you go get something from your safety deposit
Right.
box.
Yeah, of course.
Because, it could be anything. And anyways, she pulls out a gun.
She does.
Which I'm not thinking twice about it. It's like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. There could be multiple reasons for that. So I wasn't thinking I wasn't reading too much into the gun,
Yeah, me
really.
neither.
I think it's more like a kind of like a spycraft thing where like usually if you're a spy you're about to go on the run, you got some stuff from the safe deposit box. It's been done in like movies like the Jason Bourne films
Right.
and having it like in John Wick Chapter 2 where he was actually in John Wick 1 where he was like getting like his like assassin kit from his basement, but then
yeah.
Chapter 2 where he was also getting like some other stuff like his passport, money, some guns, I think, stuff like that
Right.
as well, to travel to Rome for his mission in Chapter 2. And so Yeah, it's like I still think it's like kind of a whole spycraft thing, you know,
Yeah.
which I think is good because like gotta be prepared when you gotta get out of there.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like, I didn't think it was anything out of the ordinary. I didn't think.
Yeah,
anything
I wasn't expecting a gun, to be honest. I was
Same.
expecting like maybe
That
some
was-
documents or
Right.
like something related to like the invasion or
Right.
like something else. I wasn't expecting a gun. When I saw the gun, I was like, well, standard spy move.
Right.
You know, like let's lock up a gun like someplace safe.
Right.
Like whenever I'm on threatening on the run or whatever, I'll take that gun. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
So not thinking much about it. But the phone starts ringing. She picks up the phone. Scylla picks up the phone, and you hear on the other side of the phone, St. John's Church, 1 hour. She responds with, "I want to speak to Gravik," and then the person on the other side of the call says, "Well, too bad, you're talking to me," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then the episode ends. I didn't think much about it again in that moment until he says, "Guys, I think that was Rhodey's voice."
Yes. Yeah.
We rewinded it and replayed that little scene like 10 times. And I think we're all on the same page that actually could 100% definitely be Rhodey's voice. It definitely sounds similar. I'm speechless. Like those last two clips, Gaia getting shot, then Rhodey potentially
Being a scroll.
being a Skrull or being, I don't know, whatever that is, but Rhodey's voice being on that side of that call to end the episode was very impactful, and I was left with like, the head blown off emoji. Like that's me right now. So what are y'all's thoughts?
Well,
on
that last scene was crazy. I personally have this theory that since episode 2, since he has the conversation with Fury,
Yeah,
I think he's a Skrull personally. I don't
did
know.
have that theory.
Yeah, I think Rhodey's a Skrull. I don't know when at which point of the MCU he changed. I don't know if it was after Civil War or after Endgame, like after Tony died, that made him like retire or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure, but I think it's super dangerous if he's a Skrull because like he has so much communication with the United States president. And I mean, it's Rhodey, like the influence he has in the government, in the Avengers, in general. It's,
Just in general.
It's too much, and for him to be a Skrull is completely dangerous,
Right.
Yeah.
Thoughts there at the end bit of it, episode 3.
For me, it always, with the way we kind of thought how Rhodey was in episode 2, I'm still very more on the side that he could be a Skrull because the way he's acting in that moment with him talking with Fury in episode 2, like it does not sit right. Does not sit right with me. Like act like the real Rhodey. He would never really act like that.
Yep,
so
yep.
I'm still on the side that Rhodey's a Skrull, and personally, the voice call is like kind of ambiguous, but it's not. But it'd be difficult not to think that the voice sounds similar, that it could be Rhodey. So I'm actually gonna go. Yeah, I'm very open to it. So
Right.
if it turns out to be wrong, then I'm only like half expecting it. But
Right.
if it turns out to be true, that means like Rhodey's a Skrull, and that just means this whole thing's gonna get crazier.
It means
and crazier.
a lot. It means a lot. If we find out in next week's episode that Rhodey is a Skrull, the Rhodey we've been seeing on screen this whole time was a Skrull, that means a lot, because that means they have this man locked up in their little base
Right.
under the mind control
Right.
thing or whatever, and
Basically.
God knows what else. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So
Exactly.
this is a lot, and in that, I just remembered, in that car ride where Talos and Fury were in that car ride, what Fury needed help with was that he got intel that a Skrull had infiltrated the U.S. government. You remember that? Yes. Fact check me. I swear. I put that on everything.
Okay.
That's what Fury came for him.
For
That
help.
when he came
Okay.
in, he said, I just got word a Skrull had infiltrated the U.S. government. That's what Fury came to Talos for. Then Talos actually gives Fury the Neptune information, but they go follow that lead. because
Okay.
as soon as he heard the word Neptune, he's like, oh, I know exactly who to call.
Okay.
But I'm just kind of putting two and two together, and I'm like, maybe Fury is gonna, all roads lead to potentially knowing Rhodey is a Skrull, because
Exactly.
maybe Rhodey is that Skrull that infiltrated the U.S. government. The next thing that Nick Fury and Talos are going after, as far as their lead, since they already crossed off the Neptune one, is that U.S. government, that Skrull that infiltrated the U.S. government, and then boom, those paths cross. That's my theory.
Okay.
Because he did say that. He did say that. Nick Fury did say that. Yeah, and so I think it's crazy. Again, I agree with you. I'm very open to that idea that I think it was Rhodey. You said it. You're the one who said it.
Yeah,
I didn't really catch it that first time that the phone call occurred. But after going back and listening to it 10 times, I definitely buy it. I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, guys, any general thoughts of the episode?
General thoughts on the episode. Well, what are your general thoughts on the episode?
Well, I personally was a little bit. I'm not gonna say disappointed, but I think it has been the slowest episode out of the three already.
Slowest
Yeah.
or lowest?
The slowest.
Okay.
In terms of
I
like
agree.
pacing, there's not really much action in this episode compared
Right.
to the other two.
Exactly.
And the reason why I'm a little bit disappointed is because we're halfway through the show already, and I was expecting that by episode 3 we were gonna have
Something-
like some major already like
Yeah.
change in the story.
Right.
Like for me, if they would have like exploded the U.S. plane, like the UN plane, that would have been like a catastrophe and would have like set off like
The war.
Exactly, pretty much. And they
Right.
didn't, and now I'm like, okay, like when is it gonna happen? You know, hopefully by episode 4.
I definitely think it's coming in episode
Yeah.
4. I
But
think.
but in general, like amazing. I'm loving it. I love the performances. I think like to me the performances have been the best in the show. To be honest,
Mhm.
Talos' performance, Nick's performance, and
Gravik's
Gravik's
actor.
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Whew.
amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
And in terms of like the plot and everything, I'm loving it. I'm liking it, and I can't wait to discover what's gonna happen.
No. What about you? General thoughts?
Yeah, that's about the same as Jorge. Well, yeah, this does seem like the lowest plot since it's mostly just felt like kind of a subplot thing to try and stop this whole missile thing from going off.
Exactly.
But despite all that, again, the character by the actors is still amazing and top notch. Again, with like Gravik, Talos, Nick Fury, especially giving a little more perspective on like the deconstruction of Nick Fury from his beginning of Shield to his like current stats and everything. It's definitely more revealing, which is why I love, since like again this is like whole deconstruction of Nick Fury as he's like losing most of the resources. But again, I think probably the highlight of this for like this episode was like literally like the banter, the witty, quick banter, like knowing each other that with Nick and Talos,
Yeah.
which I think is like great and like probably like the funniest thing that's happened in like this series so far.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I agree. I second both everything that you guys both just said. I definitely think this is the slowest episode. I agree, and definitely the funniest episode, but not in that Marvel comedy way that we've been
Right.
seeing for all these recent projects. I think it's being done well. It's like a small little giggle type laugh, not like a ha 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 type
Exactly,
laugh,
yeah.
type of funny.
Very
It's-
organic.
It's very organic. It's very witty. It's kind of jabby banter. It's good. It's great. I second everything. I again, my theory is that Nick Fury is now going to go try to find out which scroll it was, the information he was given to go follow that lead on a scroll that infiltrated the U.S. government. He's going to go with Talos, try to figure out who that was, and somehow that will lead us to, if your theory is correct, Rhodey being at the center of that, and maybe something potentially big happening when that goes down, which something definitely big would happen if that were to be true. That's my theory. Other than that, quality has not dropped. Quality is still up there. Still super serious. Still great show. Can't wait for next week's episode. yeah. Any more thoughts, you guys?
Mhm.
No. Well, okay. So yeah, this has been the episode 3 recap and review for Marvel's Secret Invasion. We are enjoying the show so far. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please let us know your thoughts on the episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you have any theories? We would love to hear it. Please let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to talk to you guys about it. And again, if you guys could please give this video a like, because it would definitely help us out right now as we're trying to grow. And if you like the content, please consider subscribing, because that also helps us out as we're trying to grow. We will see you guys next week. We will upload it exactly 1 week from when this episode is uploaded. We will give you guys the episode 4 recap and review. This has been the Big Screen Show, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
See you guys.